Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Friday, June 9th, 2017. My name is Rich, and joining me to cover USA versus the world is Bijan. How you making out?
Woo! USA! USA! I'm so excited! Defending champs, bro!
They brought it home. What can you do? They did a great job.
Oh, yeah. This was a very fun one. Not only did USA, were they like super fun, as always, Team Europe brought it. And I've got to say, man, Team Latin America, though I was in love with that team. They like their stories, the competitors, everything about them. Even though they only got 1 point, I mean, this was their first time on obstacle courses. As they said on the show, they did really well, and I loved everything about that team.
Yeah, they did pretty good. I was really, to be honest, I was expecting a little more just because I felt like after what we've seen with Team Japan, I thought NBC would kind of, or A. Smith and Company, whoever actually decides who gets on there, I thought they would make sure that they were top competitors that would be able to hang with them. But what do you do? Like,
dude,
America,
I thought a lot of these guys were top competitors. It's just an example of experience. We'll get more into it, but I mean, if they're just competing against like the regular season like competitors from America and Europe, I mean, we're talking about like Drew Drechsels and like all those pieces. There's no room for error with that.
Yeah.
So they got a tough task on them.
It's really hard to compete at that level. We're talking like the best of the best. You look at this Team USA, it is ridiculously stacked.
Yep. 4 of my picks, man.
When they started running down who was going to be running, and then I thought about the different stages, like, oh my God, this team is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insane. And once again, I really love the dynamics of the whole USA versus the World Specials. It's really fun, and I really hope next year we get a representation again of Team Asia and Team Latin America. I really think having 4 teams representing different regions will do very, very well. It hits all the points of the audience, and in many ways, Rich, don't you think it could be kind of like Ultimate Beastmaster where we have that dynamic? I mean, even having special hosts, I think that'd be quite fun.
It could be. It could be up to that level. It would be interesting to see. I don't know. I feel like they need a few years to catch up to where USA is at this point. Like, yeah, they could hang totally with season 4, season 5.
Yeah.
Drew Drechsel, but at this point, like, who's going to catch that guy?
Hey, Team Europe got very close this episode, so you never know what's going to happen.
But they cheat. They bring Canadians into Team Europe. That's fine.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Sean McColl's amazing. Oh my God, I love that guy.
He's so good. He's so good. Although, I don't know, man. We might have an argument. We'll see how you feel, but I was giving quite the side eye at his run on stage 3. I don't know about that whole body prop thing. We'll get into that, but I don't know if that was all legal. Let's get into this, bro. We have 3 guys. This was a 3-hour special. Oh my God.
We are going to condense it down as best we can. So I don't know how we'll do, but we're going to try.
Yeah, I am not ready to be here for 3 hours covering this. Let's get this to a nice, succinct level, guys.
Right. So we're not going to do a run by run. We can't. It's just too much. There's so many runs. It's great, but at the same time, it's just a little too much. So let's jump into it. We've got stage 1, and we'll kind of announce the competitors as we go, rather than kind of list everyone off. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, that works.
So stage 1, the first matchup was between Daniel Gill. It was going to be Tim Sheaf, we thought, but unfortunately he hurt his knee, which sucked because I was really looking forward to seeing him run.
Yeah, he's so fast. Oh man, he's one like Tim Sheaf and Sean McColl are the 2 standouts on Team Europe that always I'm excited for.
Yeah, 100%. And so unfortunately we had to have Bjarke Tonneson step in for him. And for Team Latin America, the first competitor we got to see was Wid Erickson. He's an acrobat.
Wid Erickson just stands out. I mean, just that guy.
Yeah, visually the guy stands out for sure.
Yeah. Hey, he's competing with Daniel Gill on that hair too, man.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
Those
He
flowing
is.
curls.
I found Team Latin America had a lot of personality for sure. They really.
That's the thing. I loved them and their personalities. I love them.
Yeah. So this first matchup, though, Daniel just did basically a solid run through, improved on his time, just basically did it at a good measured pace, slightly faster than he did before. Bjork went on a stake run the same place that Jeff did, almost like an identical fall too. Mm-hmm. And Wid ended up getting the rope wound up on the propeller, and it just wasn't looking very good for him, and he ended up going out on a jumping spider.
Yeah, that Bjork run, man, just like Jeff Britton. I mean, it was they just had to replay the Jeff Britton fall. Just break my heart even more. I was like, why? That was very interesting, and in many ways, it explains the difficulty of the first obstacle. A lot of people, I'm sure, just see the first obstacle on the first stage. It's like, well, it's easy, blah, 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 But it gives some understanding of the difficulty with that fourth pillar that it tripped up multiple people in this episode. And we're talking about the top competitors in the sport, that aren't Jeff Britton, and Isaac Caldiero. And yeah, in many ways, I guess it explains more of the Jeff Britton fall. So I appreciated that more people fell in some way.
Yeah,
in that,
in a weird way, it kind of did felt like vindication, didn't it?
Yeah, it just a bit, because we all love Jeff Britton. I don't know. Daniel Gills was just straightforward. There's not much to say about that, right? Just flew through it.
Yeah, it was
just picture perfect and everything. Yeah, let's get into the next one, because I don't really have much to say about that, but or this first roundup.
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward. The next roundup, we had Owen McKenzie, Carl Foe, and Jake Murray. So that was a really cool run. Owen was actually the winner of Ninja Warrior UK. Did I miss something? He must have been the season before we watched, was he?
I don't know. That was all a blur of misery for me. I mean, UK Ninja Warrior is awful. It is just dreadful. An abomination of a show. And this guy, it's kind of weird. I was curious how you felt, because he was coming off like almost absurdly cocky, like to a point where it's almost like not likable, but he was still funny. So I just needed to know like how you felt, man.
I felt like he just overplayed it a bit. I didn't feel like he was legitimately that cocky, so I kind of forgave it. But yeah, he definitely, it was a bit much, but at the same time I was like, I get that it's an act. I get that.
You need to have personality, right? I'd much rather have somebody like ham it up way more than just be like completely monotone. So yeah, I was just curious. Like, I'm like, am I the only one that's seeing like he's a little extra right now?
Yeah,
but
yeah, and usually that bothers me, but I feel like it wasn't genuine in a weird way that makes it better. Like it was just, yeah, okay, I get it. He's just trying to talk some crap.
Yeah, and it fits because UK Ninja Warrior, the entire thing is just hammed up personalities to an extreme where I just want to vomit. So that's fine.
Yeah. Oh my God, Carl's was kind of gut wrenching. The poor guy's like, he's got this horrible backstory where he's growing up in a poor neighborhood. He had like one meal per day during training. It's like,
that was an amazing story, though. Like
it was
his
but like why
his
would
emotion was very palpable and you could feel it.
Yeah, like, but I don't know. I just kind of felt really bad for him running the course, and when he fell, I'm immediately blaming on the fact that he was like malnourished. Like what the heck?
Yeah, that sucks. And it's tough because like it's literally like, hey, I just came out here, I could barely eat during training. And then you're like, man, I really hope, like, you got a lot of money from doing the special and stuff. Like, who knows? But I really hope at least he came out of here with something because, say what you want, guys, but, like, that's some real-life stuff right there. And that's pretty serious, especially what's going on there. So I wish that guy the best. I don't know. I think his backstory can really lead to him becoming a huge star for everybody rooting for him. I mean, you can't not root for that guy. So I hope to see him again and, hear like, his gym or whatever in his life doing better, next year.
Yeah, I do. I absolutely want to see how he's making out. I'm actually thinking I should try to track him down on Twitter or Facebook or somewhere so I can see, make sure that his gym's doing well. Yeah,
that's genuinely a story like I'm super like interested in and involved in, or not involved, but I mean, like you really want to continue seeing what's going on with that.
So from those two guys, before we get to Jake's run, Owen was going through it at like a blistering pace. He went into the jumping spider faster than I think I've ever seen anyone jump into that thing.
Flying.
Just absolutely flying through the first part of the course, but it seemed like he really tired himself out and really dragged through the second half. He missed the wall 3 times, even though he's 6'2". Just caught the squirrel. It looked like he almost fell at that point.
Well, there's an adrenaline dump, dude, and you can kind of see it in that one. I mean, these guys aren't familiar with this particular course, especially if you're coming from UK Ninja Warrior, because that's chump change.
Right.
So this guy's got a huge step in difficulty. He's got this huge adrenaline dump, especially with his explosive energy style. So I could see him like getting super tired real quick on that second half. But, props to him because he gutted it out. And it's one thing to just do really well at the first half and then just completely like kind of give up and be like, nope, I'm tired. Like he fought through that fatigue. So I got to give props where it's due.
Yeah, 100%. He was very impressive to make it all the way to the end after seeing how tired he was and how much he was struggling at the midway point. He did make it through, but his time was a little on the slow side. Mm-hmm. And then Carl, as we were describing, unfortunately he basically tried to rush through the propeller jump a little too fast. He let go of the propeller completely to jump to the rope and just probably shredded his hands in the process, to be honest. But
yeah, especially now that we've seen Ultimate Beastmaster, so we just see everybody like a similar obstacle from that show. I mean, I could just imagine the pain. We'll get into it later, but we definitely saw what that rope can do.
Yes, we did. Yes, we absolutely did. Holy mackerel. Jake Murray, though, that guy is nuts. He is so entertaining. I love watching him run everything.
He's so good.
But he came close. He was riding like a very thin line there. He was close on the log grip. He was close on the jumping spider. He basically had like a look ma no feet moment there as he basically as he jumped into the jumping spider, he lost both of his feet at one moment.
That's like I've done the jumping spider before, and the amount of pressure you have to put on your upper body to not have either of your legs on that thing. I mean, it's hard to like for them probably to explain just from the visual aspect, but that is next level upper body strength with Jake Murray. So props to that guy. That looked very difficult to do. I thought he was done for once you saw both legs slip out, but he was able to hold himself up. Very impressive.
Yeah, he had a great time. Ended up winning the run. And moving on, we had for Team Europe. We had Alexander Mars, who we've seen before. Jessie Graff in a history-making moment of being the first woman to actually compete on Team USA.
Oh, I was wondering where you're going with that. I'm like, huh?
Yeah, it wasn't a great debut, but she definitely redeemed herself later. And then we had Danny, Marmaleo, a parkour / stuntman for Team Latin America.
That guy wins all the points.
Yes. That guy wins not just for how far he went or what he did to his unbelievably disgusting hands afterwards. Personality-wise, that guy wins the episode. He was amazing. I love that. I loved him.
He was so good. I mean, this is what we want, like personalities. That's what really makes the show, and like any of the Ninja Warriors, now I think about it. And this guy was just brimming with charisma, personality. He knew how to play to the audience. He knew how to play to the camera. But not just that. I mean, we didn't see it till after the run, but the amount of like mental fortitude and grit that he had to go through at the very beginning of his run, just completely shredding his hand to almost like gruesome, grotesque degree, dude. Like, and just like gut out, like if you guys think about it, the jumping spider and all those other like grip-based obstacles that he had to like just struggle through, that's so impressive. And when he showed his hands to the camera at the end of his run, and it's just covered in blood and just skin dangling everywhere, I screamed. That was so disgusting. But in many ways, just explained so much more of what he went through. Good on that guy. That was really, like, that's somebody I will definitely remember.
That's some determination to even do it, but to do it and to joke and laugh and basically to have that much personality while going through the run and to play to the crowd, while you're jumping through the sonic curve, grabbing hold of a rope that you probably definitely do not want to be grabbing hold of at that point. Unbelievable. Like, kudos to that guy.
Yeah, and just super witty, too. I mean, like, Christine just asks him, what did you show the audience? And he's like, skills. he's just so quick with it. He's so good.
That was a great line. Yeah, for sure. But from the other two competitors, Alexander Mars unfortunately did go out on the jumping spider again after having problems with it last year.
Poor guy.
And Jessie Graff, we have to mention, went out on that same step that they need to put a skull and crossbones on or something. That fourth step, I believe it was.
I'm glad it's there. If it's knocking people out, that's a good sign. It's a good obstacle. But yeah, that sucks. And it's one of those moments where the competitor, the audience, and just like I was at home, probably everybody was doing the same reaction of just sheer gasping, like disbelief, nobody talking, just like, what just happened? And wow, it was crazy, man. But I'm glad at least we saw this during a special and not like the season, because that would have been really anticlimactic for Jessie Graff to go out that way. But yeah, it's one of those things. It could happen to anybody. It could happen to the best.
Her explanation made a lot of sense, too, because they were talking about, hey, let's just have fun and go as fast as we can. Well, yeah, some of them might be able to do that, but she's like a student of Ninja Warrior, and she studies the obstacles, and she's a very methodical in her approach, and she's just not used to just rushing through everything. So
yeah, it's different style.
That she's... Yeah, 100%.
I mean, look at Drew Drechsel. He's so tuned in that he literally like listens to music, logging out any other audio that's happening. I mean, people just have different styles. I'm glad if it's a learning moment for her, I'm very glad it happened in this moment.
Yep. So that meant that Danny won that round.
I'm glad he did because he's awesome.
Yes, he totally earned it. And Latin America won one of the rounds, so it was 2-1 USA to Latin America, and Team Europe shut out in round 1.
Good point. I didn't think about that. Ooh. Well, Team Europe's very upper body heavy. Not, like when you look at them, you know.
Well, you strip out Tim Sheaf, then yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if anything, Latin America could have this was more of their stage because they're much more heavier on the speedsters. But once again, I mean, a lot of these, it kept coming up that it's their first time on a Ninja Warrior course. So I think actually next year, even though it's still they don't get that much opportunity to train, at least they'll have better understanding of some obstacles. So I expect them to do a bit better next year.
So starting off stage 2 was a great matchup that I was really looking forward to seeing. We had Brian Arnold for Team USA, Diego Gonzalez, the number 1 climber in Mexico for Team Latin America, versus Sean McColl for Team Europe. What a great stage 2 run to start it all off.
Oh yeah, the big guns. I mean, I was excited, and I got even more excited when they gave introduction to Diego Sanchez. I mean, this kid is brimming with talent, and I'm really high up on this kid. And yeah, I was excited to see how, Brian Arnold matches up with Sean McColl and everybody. This was a very exciting on multiple facets. Also, Brian Arnold tackling that the wedge, whatever it's called again. Is it the body wedge? Is that what it's called?
The double wedge.
Double wedge. That's what it's called. I was mixing a body problem with that. Anyways, I was excited for him to tackle that again and see how Sean McColl does it, because Sean McColl is very good and intuitive at going through obstacles very fast, but figuring out new obstacles as well. So I was just excited all around for all this.
Yeah, as much as we give Sean McColl so much credit for being a stage 3 killer because of his climbing background, he's really the stage 2 guy. When you think of what he managed to accomplish last year, his time was ridiculous, beating out Drew going at a blistering pace and Joe Moravsky going at an even more ridiculous pace. And then he beat both of them. He is the stage 2 master. There's nobody that comes close to his times.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Especially because when you see video packages of him and introductions, you don't see him training a lot of obstacles. It's mostly just his rock climbing prowess. So I don't even know how much he trains on the off season. I mean, this guy just comes in from a completely different sport and just kills the course, figuring out all the new obstacles immediately. I mean, This guy is some huge talent, and I'm kind of glad because I'd probably die inside seeing him wasted on UK Ninja Warrior or something like that. So, you know.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, and maybe I'm definitely a sucker for the video packages they put together. I don't know a whole lot outside of what they show us, but I feel like Megan Martin's the same way, where it's like she really just does the climbing and is just naturally good at a lot of these things. And
yeah, but at least she's got like the wolf pack with her. Like she's got to do some training. I mean, this guy, have you ever seen him train like in any of the video packages, train any obstacles? This guy is just on like cliffs the whole time.
Everything they show. Yeah, I don't know. He's amazing. He's the Canadian Ninja Warrior. What are you going to do?
Really?
I'm not letting it go.
You're just like, he's mine. He's our representation.
Claiming him. Yep, Europe can't have him. He's ours. So Diego, unfortunately, did struggle in the rings, and he ended up going on the Wave Runner just from being so sapped from the rings, we think. Brian didn't quite get his redemption.
That sucked to see.
But it was amazing to watch him try, though, don't you think?
Yeah, he gave it his all. Like, he was like, I am not going out this way. I am going to do everything imaginable. But it just sucks so much because as soon as he dropped in, it got deeper and deeper, and he tried getting it out, but every like way he tried to like move the wedge, it just get lower and lower. It was so sad to watch. I'm like, oh no. And I don't even know the answer to it, honestly, man. Obviously, the approach just from the viewer's perspective is be like light and just like kind of shimmy along like a push up and shimmy along. That's so much easier to say than do. Like, it's like, oh yeah, sure, just do that, you know? It's hard to see, and I wish him the best. I hope he can figure out, you know, his approach to doing it, because he's like, I could see him going so far in stage 3.
We've never really seen anyone, I say heavier. It's not like Brian's heavy, but compared to Drew and Daniel and Josh and Jessie, he is. Maybe, do you think there's like a weight limit on that thing? Do you think maybe it is his weight that's just too much for it?
I mean, I don't know, man. He's only 160 pounds. He's not that heavy. I think it's more of his approach to when he initially gets in. He gets very, like, he slams down onto the bar, catching himself where it wedges deep in. But I don't have an answer of not doing that. like, oh yeah, just bounce differently. Like it's you know, it's something where Brian as an athlete will have to figure out his approach to doing it. And I'm sure he, like, the Wolfpack and him built that obstacle and has been training and figured it out during the off season. This is all new to him, both times. So I'm sure now he's had a chance to figure the obstacle out.
So we saw that Brian didn't quite make it through, but he did make it to the wedge, so it was in a pretty decent time. So it was funny when she asked him if he felt confident, and he's like, no, like, I've got Sean McColl coming after me. Are you kidding me? Like, No, I'm not really that confident. We'll see what he does.
Yeah, you can't be like, oh yeah, I'm so confident that I'm going to beat Sean McColl. Like, that's tough order.
Sean, what was funny was he looked like he was going slow there, making all these comments, and then when you look at his actual time, it was kind of like Joe Moravsky, where it's like, he doesn't look like he's rushing, but he's actually got a really good time so far.
Yeah, makes it look easy. I like it. There's something to be said about a really good pace, and Sean McColl kept a good pace, but also was conserving his energy, because I'm sure he knew that body prop that he's completely new to is something that he'd probably have to figure out as well. But once again, he figured it out. Good on that guy.
I feel like he should have rushed to that butterfly wall, though. Like, maybe he probably couldn't see the time the way we could. But it was like, man, if he just rushed like a few more seconds, he would have had time to spare. But
like Brian Arnold in stage 3?
Yeah.
We'll get to that. But
Exactly.
Once again, though, like it's easy to say it from, you know, like watching TV.
Yeah, how dare you? How dare you bring that up?
It's coming up later. Sorry, Brian.
But yeah, so Sean ended up beating the wedge. He beat the whole bloody thing, and said he was exhausted afterwards. At least he got tired, and it was funny.
He's human.
Surprised. Yeah, he said, like, my arms got tired. It was like, that doesn't happen. My arms don't get tired.
I'm sure he was more surprised than anybody else. He's like, like, what is this feeling of fatigue in my arms? I do not know this feeling.
But yeah, it was great. So he ended up winning that. So then we moved on, and we find out that Drew gave up his spot in stage 2 to Jessie so that she could run again. So she was originally supposed to just run stage 1, So she was gearing up to run for Drew in stage 2, leaving him to just run in stage 3.
Good on that guy.
Yeah, that was very cool.
It shows a lot of confidence that he had in Jessie Graff. Like, obviously, there's no reason not to. Good on him.
Yeah, so the second run, we'll get to that, but that was the point of the episode where they mentioned it as she kind of got ready. So the second run through was Carl Foe for Team Latin America, Daniel Gill for Team USA, and Stefano Cisolfi for Team Europe. So Carl, unfortunately, ended up going out on the ring swing. He just missed the bar at the end. It was starting to feel a little bit like Team Japan all over again. I was still like, oh, geez, please don't do this the whole episode. I don't need to feel bad for one of the teams for the whole episode again, and it was not looking good. Daniel Gill was on a good pace. He was doing faster than the regular season, but he did go out on the double wedge this time, which was a little shocking. I thought he had it. He looked like he was in good position, but didn't quite make it. And then from out of nowhere, Stefano, well, not really out of nowhere, Stefano's really good.
Mm-hmm.
He was struggling on the rings, but he did a great job on the wedge. I think he did probably better than we've seen anyone do on the wedge. Great technique, and ended up beating the whole thing and winning the round.
Yeah, it was very smart with his approach to it. Shout out to Stefano's dad. That guy was awesome. really invested. And yeah, that double wedge is such a good obstacle. I really like it. It's very unforgiving when you see Brian Arnold do it. It could trip up even competitors that know how to do it, in Daniel Gill. So it's an obstacle I very much appreciate, because it's kind of like the last big hurrah to get through stage 2. And in many ways, it elevates stage 2 in its difficulty.
It does. I feel like the wedge might be like one of the most like technically proficient obstacles that we've seen, where it requires like a level of skill we just don't see out of so many competitors. There is no cheating your way through that one.
Yeah, you have to be perfect. Like, if you mess up even slightly, oh boy, you are stuck. You better figure a way to get out of that thing quick.
And I like that because it separates out the competitors like Jessie, who are so good with their body control, and they just use everything at their disposal, and they think their way through the obstacles, not just power through it. I think it's great.
Good point, man. Yeah, it pretty much weeds out the technical aspects and just the physical aspects. I mean, there's a lot of competitors you just see throw their bodies into stuff and be like, well, I'll just figure it out on the fly because I'm very athletic. And then there are competitors that, use their technique and their smarts, and this is an obstacle. You have to have your smarts for it. I appreciate that.
And the final 3 we get to see running stage 2 were David Saikin from Team Latin America, Bjarke, oh my God, these names are killing me, Bjarke Tonneson from Team Europe.
You can do it!
And Jessie Graff from Team USA. So we get to see Jessie run the course. Now, I gotta say, as much as I tried to avoid spoilers, just knowing that there were spoilers to avoid kind of let me know what was going to happen on this run.
Yeah, I wish I would be surprised during this run, but as you said, man, it's spoiled all over the internet. I understand, though, why they did that. It drummed up a lot of hype, a lot of play online, a lot of people probably being like, hey, there's this giant special going on. On Sunday, I've got to watch this and watch her do this and be part of this moment. So I understand it, but as a diehard, I can also, I'm just like, man, I really wish I was be surprised during the special. It's not too big of a deal looking back, though, because it drummed up hype. And props to her. I mean, we got to talk about this run. I mean, who cares really about even the other 2 runs when we have Jessie Graff making history here? She did phenomenal. And as we talked about the body prop, man, it made this run even that much more special, because this is not a joke of a stage 2. This is probably the most daunting stage 2 we've ever seen in Ninja Warrior history. And she completed that stage 2.
Same with stage 1. Like, it's the thing, like, there is no questioning her ability because of the level that she's competing at. It's just amazing. Like, she didn't beat a stage 1 where we had, like, in season 7, was it? We had like 30 some finishers. Mm-hmm. She beat the one where like people were struggling because it was hard.
Yeah, not just that. I mean, look, we have 9 of the best Ninja Warrior competitors from around the world, like the very best of the best. And how many of them in the special completed stage 2, dude? Like maybe 3? And she's one of them. So that just says all there is to be about it. I mean, amazing skill. her technique was picture perfect, and it was a very special moment. I'm very happy for her. I'm very happy for all of her fans, boys or girls. I'm really happy that we have that moment in Ninja Warrior history again, and I can really see her going super far this upcoming season.
Yeah, so you look at like you said, the 9 competitors. There were only 2 that beat it, and it was the 2 world-class climbers from Team Europe, Stefano Ghisolfi and Sean McColl are the only 2 that actually beat it. So, I mean, and then you look at the regular season, all the top ninjas struggled or failed on it. The only Drew and Daniel were able to beat it. Like, it's just an unbelievably difficult stage 2, and she managed to beat it. It was great. Even knowing that it was going to happen, it was cool to watch. It was great. I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, amazing. Huge congratulations, Jessie. That's some really, really special stuff. She's in a very small company in terms of competitors that have completed Stage 2, this new updated Stage 2. So it just makes that even more special that she was able to do it.
Yeah, and that dismount from the wedge was amazing. That long dismount. Oh, my God.
I was so excited, and I was just screaming at my TV, "Go, go, go! Jump off that thing! Do not!" Because I've been heartbroken so bad last season. People trying to get to the end of that thing, just slipping off at the end. I was so happy. She's like, "Nope, time to keep moving."
Moving on to Stage 3, we have Josh Levin for Team USA, Santiago de Alba from Team Latin America, and Alexander Mars from Team Europe. And I started doing the math here, and they do bring it up. The announcers do say it, but I started realizing that, wait, it's Europe and USA at 4 and Latin America at 1. And it's seeming like they're struggling, but it's like all it takes is for them to win this one heat, and it's a 3-way tie. Like, it's kind of cool the way the points work out, that they can make a comeback pretty easily in Stage 3.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. I'm curious, though, if we ever get a season where it's a complete shutout in Stage 3 and it's very underwhelming. Like a team gets no points in Stage 1 or 2, but just destroys Stage 3 and wins. We'll see if there's a lot of blowback on that. But how it's structured, I appreciate it a lot just because Stage 3 is the most difficult. And yeah, at this point, though, I mean, knowing the talents of Team Latin America, this really isn't the stage for them. So I didn't have huge hopes in that basket. I don't know. We got to talk about Josh Levin, man. This kid is a stud. This stage was built for him. And I really feel like Josh Levin is that rare breed and that he's in that pool of Isaac Caldiero before he won the show. Or how I feel kind of about Ian Dory and a few other competitors, where it's, if they can make it to Stage 3, I can see them just flying through Stage 3 and getting into the end. And he's definitely there. If he can get past Stage 2, I am very, very high up on Josh Levin's talents, especially with his approach. He's very methodical. He takes his time. He's very careful with his approach to these courses, and it definitely plays well for him in Stage 3 where it's not timed. So yeah, I really hope to see him get past Stage 2 next year, and I'm putting all my bread in his basket, man. I think he can make it.
It's funny that this run actually not completely changed my mind. I liked Josh. I thought he did great last season, but I wasn't up on him as much as you were. I was kind of like, oh yeah, he's good. I didn't really appreciate him to the point that I would pick him for my team the way that you had. But after watching him do this run, I'm like, this guy is no joke. He was not a flash in the pan, sensation by beating that LA finals solo. He is amazing. He is really, really good. And I think we're going to see big things from him over the coming seasons.
Yeah, he's really good. And I really think he's going to have the same path as Isaac Caldiero, where his biggest obstacles are really going to be Stage 1 and 2 with the time limits. And if he makes it to Stage 3, I think he's just going to shine completely.
And we had the only fast forward of the whole massively long special in this pairing. Santiago got fast forwarded. They said he was way ahead of Josh's time, but he ended up falling on the body prop.
At this point, I did not mind at all, man.
Yeah.
3 hour special. I don't, and they didn't trim much fat on this, so
No.
you gotta cut where it's due, and that's fine.
We could have used a few more fast words, I think.
Yeah, yes, very much so. I really think this special would have been a little bit better if it was 2 hours, guys. But I really can't complain. More Ninja Warrior, I'm all for it.
Generally speaking, that's a good thing. It just felt really long this time. Alexander, though, I don't know. Like, he's really good, and he was doing it at a really good pace, especially because he seems a lot bigger than the other guys. Like, he didn't seem like he was built to be going as fast and as well as he was on all these grip strength obstacles.
Yeah, good point. That is a tall. I don't know his height, but he looks tall. I say he looks tall because I always thought Sean McColl was tall until I actually saw his height. I'm like, oh, that is not a tall man.
No, he is not.
Camera tricks and everything, but he definitely doesn't look built in the same way that Josh Levin is built, like a little tank. This guy seems like he's holding up a lot of weight, and he did really well, and I really enjoyed his run because you could see that struggle with him in the final whatever the hell, what is that obstacle called, dude?
It's called the walking bar.
The walking bar. You could definitely see the struggle with the walking bar, and it's so heartbreaking him falling so close to completing it. Good on him, and in many ways, he kind of looks like a skinny Grant McCartney.
Yeah, this is exactly who he reminded me of. Anybody, but I have to say this is one of my favorite runs of the whole thing. Is for somebody that hadn't won. It was really cool to root for. I was really enjoying the whole thing. I don't know. I thought it was really engaging. He's not a professional rock climber like some of the other guys tackling this. He's just really good.
Average guy. And that's a good point, man. It can't be understated the fact that there is somewhat of an underdog story because we see so many high-level athletes come from professional backgrounds in specials like this, that when we get somebody where it's like, hey, I'm just an average dude, and I'm really good at this. There's something to be said about that in terms of relatability and everything like that. Because you see a Sean McColl, and it's like, I'm rooting for the guy, but I can't do half the things he could do, even a fraction of it. But this guy, he's just an average Joe, just like me. And yeah, that's really cool seeing him do well.
Yep. So Josh ended up winning that round. So moving on, we had Stefano Gisolfi for Team Europe, David Sykeen for Team Latin America, and Brian Arnold for Team USA in what was one of the strangest moments I think we've seen in any of these USA versus the Worlds.
Yeah.
we gotta get to it. Let's go through the first two first. So Stefano gets on there, and he's like a crazy good climber, but he ended up going out on the cliffhanger in a very big WTF moment. David just barely made it off the boards. I thought that for sure that dude was falling on the boards. I don't know. He got off there by his toes.
Barely.
Just barely. He couldn't get his swing right on the cliffhanger at all and fell and put Team Latin America out of the competition.
Yeah. I mean, Latin America brought the personality. They just need to bring heighten up in the experience point. They are just inexperienced, and for a lot of them, it's their first time doing any of these things. So I can't knock them too much. And
then Brian Arnold takes the course, and
so the Brian Arnold could win the entire show, guys. Entire show. He doesn't even have to complete the course, even very, very far. He just needs to complete, the floating boards, right? In a certain amount of time. And the time was pretty extreme. It was almost close to 2 minutes. But he's like, no, I am sure going to take every amount of time I can.
Did you think he had it when he took the course?
No, because I saw how much time was left on the DVR, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just watching it, not knowing that, it's like, of course he's got this. Just complete the floating boards in 2 minutes. I mean, for a competitor at his level, it wouldn't take all that much.
I made notes. I'm like, oh no, there's too much confidence, and they're making a point of how great he is and that he's never fallen before the final. I like, oh geez, he's
bad
totally
herring.
Not getting this.
Yeah, it was a bad herring.
Yeah, it was. My note literally says, I'm scared.
I was scared with him. Like he took his time and he didn't complete the body, is it the body floating boards at a certain amount of time, right? That's fine. I'm like, so does he fall at the cliffhanger. Like, it's crazy because I can't imagine Brian Arnold like not completing the cliffhanger. He's known for being so good at it. But it's the dismount out of the cliffhanger. Like, I was so surprised he completes it. I'm like, oh, so why do we have so much time left? And it's just like, what happened? I mean, that really sucks because it's not even like you completed the actual obstacle pretty much. It's just a very small lapse of like, you know, just probably his mind's on to the next obstacle. He didn't find the footing. And that's a really tough way to go. Once again, I'm very glad it happened during the special and not during the season because that would have been so hard. But I'm sure he was kicking himself a little.
Yeah, I think he's kicking himself a lot.
Yeah, but luckily it would have been way worse if this was the run that lost it for Team America. That would have been really, really hard. But I'm sure he breathed a sigh of relief knowing that Drew Drechsel is coming up next, at least to make it a thing. But yeah, it was shocking. It was certainly shocking.
Yes, Brian did not lose it for Team USA. He just gave us a very exciting ending. That's all. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, he made it much more, entertaining.
Yeah, who would have? If that was how Team USA won, that would have been a boring special.
Yeah, that's all we need to think, man.
Having an exciting last minute, competition in Team USA versus the world. Like, thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Brian Arnold. Next time, just have more scares, I guess. Like cliffhanger, just catch it with one arm, I guess. Oh, by the way, did you hear? Like Akbar said, Brian Arnold can do a one pinky, one arm push up.
Yeah, what is that?
Is that actually possible? Like, apparently there's a video of this online. We need to find this because how is that even humanly possible?
Well, I wouldn't have thought it was possible if you hadn't said it. Now I feel like we do need to find that video.
Like, obviously it happened. I'm pretty sure it's not like, oh, screw it. Like, that would be so bad for Brian Arnold to be like, oh, yeah, that video doesn't exist. I'm sure it exists. Just like that's next level, dude.
What I'll do, if I can find it, I'll link it in the show notes. So if you see it in there, definitely check it out because that does sound crazy. I thought it was just me. I'm like, is that a thing? Can a human really do that?
I sure am never going to try that. It's a quick way to break your finger. But yeah, man, it came down to an exciting run because with this, we got the matchup of Drew Drechsel, Sean McColl, stage 3. Oh boy. Oh, not just that, but also like Latin America's like boy toy. What's his name again? Gonzalez, something, right?
Diego Gonzalez. Yeah, the #1 climber in Mexico.
Yeah, so this is going to be something to see. I mean, we got the high-level rock climbers and Drew Drechsel, who's just been a phenom, all on stage 3. I was so psyched. This is a way to end a special like this.
You know what's funny is I was thinking that they must be pretty psyched out to be going up against Drew Drechsel, and then they showed his interview, and he was almost psyched out thinking of going up against these top rock climbers, and I realized this is stage 3. Like, I can see why, as much as Drew is at the top of the ninja world, for him to think, oh God, I've got to face these top climbers in their playground.
What's the obstacle on stage 3 that always gets him? It's the rock climbing wall. So I can imagine he's like, come on.
No pressure. Just the #1 climber in Mexico and the #1 climber in the world to go against. Yeah, no big deal. So Diego did pretty well. They couldn't win at this point, but if Diego had won, it would have forced a stage 4 climb off. And he went on the walking bar. He did have a good run though. It was really it was good to watch.
Yeah, and that kid is good. That kid is really good. I'm really high up on him. He kind of reminds me of Josh Levin in many ways.
Yeah. But then we get the showdown. So then it was just a matter of, okay, we've got our Sean McColl going first here. And he was just flying through the beginning of the course.
So fast.
54 seconds he was at the cliffhanger. Like, less than a minute. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that guy, he knows speed. I mean, obviously, he's the #1 rock climber in the world. But it's one of those moments where I'm just in awe of watching him run. Obviously, since we have the best, this is special, some of the best athletes in the world. I mean, a lot of these competitors, it's really fun to watch, but Sean McColl is a very special person. Yeah, it's just really amazing to watch how his approach is to these obstacles.
I just want him on American Ninja Warrior. I just want him on the regular season. Him and Tim Sheaf, some of these bigger international competitors. I just want them to compete on A&W so much. Like, I hate having to wait for the specials.
I mean, at the very least, I mean, we get to see them in the special. And, like, when you look at all the other Ninja Warrior shows, they don't have anything like this. So at least this is the opportunity that we have to watch them compete on the A&W course. So, you know, you just got to take it with how it is.
Yeah, you take what you get, I guess. But then we had the shocking moment of him struggling on the body prop. And I'll give you a second. You go ahead and complain about how he was doing the body prop.
What the hell? Like, seriously, it's the body prop, and his hands are at the top lip of it, holding himself up. How is that allowed? How is that legal? Like, I'm losing my mind. I'm like, he's disqualified, right? He's disqualified, right? And he continually does it throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
I don't understand how that was allowed.
I would call that smart technique. I don't think there's
Get
any...
out of here. Get out of here with that.
I might be a little biased. There is that small chance I'm a little biased.
No. If there was anybody else doing that, you'd be screaming. Like, the whole point of the body prop is that you got to prop your body, like both your feet and your hands, against the glass and hold yourself up with your core. If your hands are at the top of the lip, like, you're just holding yourself up pretty much with your palms. And obviously, you still have to press against the glass, but the difficulty is subsided that much more. And I don't know. I didn't like it. So in many ways, he could have just put his feet up at the top lip too and just shimmied along, right?
Yeah, he should have just ran up the side of it, really. Like, just stood up on one end of them and just ran up them.
Hey, it looks like they wouldn't have disqualified him. Like, might as well.
All right, so he fell anyway. Whatever, it's a moot point. I don't want.
It's not a moot point. Screw that. Like that. Who thought that? Like yeah, whatever. I'm trigger warning, but I'm just gonna move on.
They can clarify it for next year, but yeah, I think it was coloring outside the lines a little bit.
Quite a bit out of the lines. So quite a lot.
After him, Drew takes the course. And it was really reassuring to know that after he had failed the hang climb for the second time, he did nothing but train for it. So in that day or two between when he fell on the hang climb and when they filmed USA versus the World, he was like hard at it apparently. So he was more ready than ever to take it on.
Yeah, good on him. I didn't realize that, but that's like, once again, this guy trains relentlessly. He's not going to, let something slip him up and just be like, oh, well, this is my lot in life. Like, he continually trains incredibly hard. Good on him.
I feel like you missed my sarcasm there. Completely.
Oh, that was sarcastic.
Yes, why?
I had no idea. I seriously thought you were okay, well, moving on then.
Well, that's the thing. Like, why would they make a point of saying, like, well, I mean, I know they put him on the spot and, like, talk about how you've trained since the hang climb. Like, he just did it, like, the day before you're recording this interview. Like, come on. He didn't have time to really retrain on the hang climb. He might had decided on a different approach to it, for sure, but he didn't have time to, like, beef up his grip strength in those 2 days.
No, if anything, it would have subsided if you're training relentlessly. But I seriously thought, like, with you saying that, I was like, oh, well, maybe he has a new technique or approach. I don't know. Like...
Yeah, the technique was that he'd keep his headphones in, I think.
Hold on harder. Don't grab a foothold.
Hold on harder. That's a great technique. That would actually help a lot.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm going to do during rock climbing competitions, Hold on harder. During marathons, I'll just yell to everybody, run faster. Yeah, thanks, bro. Thank you.
I think we need to make t-shirts that say just hold on harder. So he was flying through. He ended up beating the hang climb just without using his feet. He just skipped over it more or less as best he could. And so with that, solidified the win and ended up beating stage 3 completely. What a great moment to end the whole thing. Like, this competition, like, has picture perfect endings every year.
And not just that, I mean, it's a very good opportunity for the competitors to finally get past certain hurdles that they have and build up their confidence. Jessie Graff now is going into this upcoming season with a lot of confidence, knowing that she's completed both Stage 1 and Stage 2. Drew Drechsel has finally now completed Stage 3 in American Ninja Warrior. He's passed that hurdle. So in terms of, like, confidence and mentality wise, I mean, this is a very good opportunity for them. And you could see, by the way, when he finally like lands on that pad and hits the buzzer, it was a very emotional moment for Drew Drechsel. I was really, really happy for the guy. And you had to have been thinking the same thing, man. Like, what is he listening to? And it was, I'll Make the Man Out of You. How perfect. Oh, yeah. I love that song. Damn it, now I want to watch Mulan.
So that is it for this episode. Thank you all for tuning in. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can reach me at rich@ninjapodcast.com. I am at Ninja Podcast on both Instagram and Twitter. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
Hit me up at Twitter and Instagram at Bijan151. That is Bijan 151. Hit me up about that Spartan show because it looks amazing.
All right. Thank you all for listening, and I hope you have a fantastic week.
Peace, y'all. Screw that body prop lip.